In this lecture, I'm going to talk about aftercare and rehabilitation advice for clients. They are different, but are not necessarily exclusive of each other. Rehab is always a tricky one, as you need to gauge what your client will and won't do. I often get clients who have been to other disciplines or practitioners, been given loads of exercises which they can't remember or can't do properly. I often get told they really hurt when they are doing them, so have either pushed through and irritated the issue more or just stopped doing them altogether. Either way isn't good. You have to be very careful with aftercare and rehab advice. Just because it seems simple or easy to you doesn't mean it is for the person you are treating. The first thing to understand is what is the difference between aftercare advice and rehab. Aftercare is normally general guidance given after a treatment. Drink plenty of water, try to relax the rest of the day, avoid alcohol, heat can be used if you find it uncomfortable. Should they stick to their normal exercise routine and possibly any contra-actions and so on, allowing them to get the best out of their treatment. Rehabilitation is trying to continue to address the issue at home, so hot and cold, stretches, strengthening, lifestyle changes, other changes and self-treatment. It's more specific to the problem than the general overall advice. You will always give aftercare advice to new clients and remind existing clients of things they might forget. But you will find aftercare advice and rehab boundaries will blur, such as changes or self-treatment. The aftercare is easy and is general advice, but how do we set about rehab advice? There are several considerations you need to take into account. First is your client. Are they going to do them? Have they ever done any exercise before? What will they be able to handle? How much time do they have? Next is what do you want to achieve from your rehab? Is it to help improve the problem? Is it to help reduce pain? Is it both? Do you start by managing the pain and then when able address the problem? Next is the issue itself. Is it an injury or a dysfunction? What stage is it at? What actually is the issue? Finally, are there other disciplines involved? Who are they? Have they given the client any rehab or aftercare advice? Are you just giving aftercare or are you giving rehab? Before we work our way through the deciding factors of giving rehab, you don't necessarily need to give rehab on the first treatment. You may want to wait till you see them the next time when the situation has started to improve, making it easier for them to carry it out. You may wait several treatments. Again, it really does depend. The biggest mountain to climb will be the client. It's always better a client does rehab if needed, but some just won't do it. If you know your client won't do it, don't waste yours or their time. You are better off using the time to treat and during that time gently guide them on the benefits of rehab and maybe give them a few suggestions. Having decided if they will or won't do rehab, the next question is, have they ever done exercise before? This will help indicate what level, complexity, quantity of exercises you give them. What will they be able to handle? If they are in agony, not a lot. If they're extremely old or frail and haven't done any exercise before, again, not a lot. Are they a gym goer or fanatical about exercise? You may have to work on holding the client back from doing too much. How much time do they have? Is less going to be more in their case? Are you getting the picture yet? Everyone is an individual and your plan must be individual to them. You may have a bank of preferred exercises, stretches, etc., but it will still be different for everyone. The next question seems like an odd one, but what do you want to achieve from the rehab? It's not always as simple as fixing someone. You may need to break it down. And is it actually fixable or are you just managing it? They could be waiting for surgery, for example, and you're there to help to manage it. Do you need to manage pain first before you look at improving the situation? You can't give advice and guidance on medication, as you're not medically qualified, but heat and cold are great for managing pain. Guidance like supporting the area with pillows so the muscles can relax will help with pain. Some exercises may relieve pain, self-massage and so on. Know your goal and expect it to change as your client progresses. You also need to consider whether you're dealing with an injury or a dysfunction, as it will affect the plan. If it's an injury, what stage is it at? You may have to start with non-weight bearing exercise or partial, or maybe it's not that bad and it's full weight bearing. Understanding the injury and knowing what it is important, so you give the right exercises. I have a client that I have seen for a long time who was given the wrong exercises by a physio, which aggravated the issue. It had been misdiagnosed, which happens, so going slowly and checking in with your client is important. Don't be frightened to change something if it's not working. You need to consider if there are other disciplines involved. If so, who are they? You may be working in conjunction with a physio who would normally lead the rehab, but that doesn't mean you can't check in with the client on how they are doing and making sure they understand the exercises and potentially waylaying any fears. As you can probably tell from the information I have gone through, I can't give you a decisive plan. It's just not possible. To sum up, each plan is going to be unique to your client. Aim to get the levels right, keep good records of progress, build your plan slowly and consider all the above information. Don't be afraid to change it if it's not working. Involve your client in the plan so that they have ownership and are more likely to get involved. Check in with them regularly, find out from them what's working and what's not so that you can develop the plan. Make sure you have resources for your client when giving rehab. That includes, but is not limited to, notes on hot and cold, printouts of exercise sheets. There's even software packages available with exercises on them. Take the time to go through any exercises with your client and offer to record them on their phone so they have something to refer to. YouTube videos are another great source, either your own or someone else's. But remember, if you're using someone else's, check the links regularly. Many practitioners won't take on rehab as part of their practice and prefer to do just massage, which is fine, and may very well refer their clients onto other disciplines for this. Aftercare, as already mentioned, is different and forms part of your treatment, so should always be given, and this is general guidance. Whether or not you decide to take on rehab, the information in this lecture and the following one will aid you no end. Understanding what someone has been asked to do is important, and again, you may need to give general advice around the topic. Ensure that you have the right qualifications to carry out rehab and that you are fully covered by your insurance. Different insurances may require or accept different qualifications. You can now complete the quiz associated with this lecture and move on to the next section of rehab.